Hello guys and welcome back. So in this video I wanted to talk about how to manipulate data in Houdini. So I'm going to create a geometry node. I'm going to dive inside, delete this file node, and create a grid. Hit tab, type in grid, and create a grid. Now we have few points to work with. I'm going to increase this to 40 and 40 so we have more data. And if I click here, you can see we have all these points. Now these points have a point position, and we want to make changes to that. We want to process that, and we have two ways of doing this: either using the vex and writing codes directly in attribute wrangles node, or using something more visual to and interactive to do these things. Now vex in Houdini is at the core of all the geometry processing or data or manipulating the data, and we're not going to be using the vex because I want to not have you guys write any code in this course, so we're going to be doing everything through the interactive interface. But I'm going to show you how to make changes or process the data. So create an attribute wrangle. You can see it has a field here for writing code. I'm not expecting you guys to fully understand this, just I want to show the result. So I'm going to type in v at p, and this is we're going to modify the position, which is a p attribute, and the v to tell the vex code that it's a vector that we're looking for. And we're going to set it to equal to be v at p. We want to take the current position and add a vector to it. So I'm going to create a vector that has a 5 offset on the y-axis. So this is x, y, and z. I'm going to end it with a semicolon. And now you can see all the points have been moved 5 units up. Now if we wanted to move them 2 units on the z, we can change that. Okay, so this is using vex directly. Now if we don't want to use the vex, we're going to use a point vop. Okay, and this is basically one of the biggest nodes that we're going to be using in Houdini, and it's we need to dive inside to see and work with it. So I'm going to double click. Let me view it here. So I'm going to double click, and you can see we have on the left all the available attributes by default that we can access to. And don't worry too much. We're not going to be using all of these guys. We're only interested in P. So this is the point position. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to add a vector to it. We want to add an offset. So I'm going to create an add node, and I'm going to create a constant. In this constant, I'm going to change it to a float, and here we can type in the value that we want. Going to connect that and plug it back. So we're taking P, adding some offset, and then connecting and then pushing it back out. And now we can take this value and change it. You can see it's doing the same thing as we did in vex. Now this node is actually creating vex code. So if you want to see the vex code, you can right click and say view vex code, and it adds all that to create the interface. But then in the end, you can see it's P1 plus value, and this is our value. And with vex, we're just doing that directly. So this is how you process point data in Houdini. You can use vex, or you can use point vop. And let's say we wanted to create a noise, for example. We can hit tab and create a noise pattern. So I'm going to use a turbulent noise. Okay, I'm going to create connect the position for the input, and this is going to give me a noise value based on the input. So each point has a unique position. We run that through this turbulent noise function. It's going to produce a different value. Let me disconnect this by clicking and then clicking away, and that disconnects the node. I'm going to take this noise and connect it to the color, to CD, which is the color of the mesh, and we can see the map, we can see the noise. Now, because we don't have a lot of points to clearly visualize this, that's what we're getting right now. But if we go up and increase this to, let's say, 250 and 250. Now we have a lot more points to work with, and we can see the data, the result of the noise more clearly. Okay, let me dive inside. And now we've generated noise, we've plugged it into the color, but it's not doing anything to the mesh. So let me disconnect this, and instead of using this X, Y, and Z input here, I'm going to use this guy. So I'm going to connect it, and then let's take a look at P. So now we're adding this noise value, this noise result, to all the position of the points. You can see it's changing the surface. Now this turbulence is generating a 1D, which is a float value. The input, our input, is a vector, so we want to create a vector to push it in all kinds of directions. You can see now we're pushing all the points. Now this noise here, we can tune it down, so it's 0, or we can increase it, and that will keep pushing the points. There's a frequency, and we can tweak it. And now we're taking points attribute and deforming them. Now remember that we don't have to have the mesh. Okay, I can just put an add node and delete geometry but keep points, and now we have only the points being modified. You can see them, and these are the same points as if you were doing any other point manipulation in Houdini, whether it's a particle or geometry. It's all the same points in Houdini. It's all the same data. And that's how you process data in Houdini. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.